Right now, President Trump is meeting with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy, as well as 7 other world leaders from Europe. They are discussing a plan to end the war in Russia and with Russia. Joining us now is Professor of Politics at Claremont McKenna College, Jack Pitney, familiar face here on KCAL News. Professor, thank you so much for being with us and breaking this down.
Well, thank you.
All right, Jack, let's start with Zelenskyy showing up in a suit, as well as the pretty friendly reception there in the Oval Office with him and President Trump at first his briefing and giving updates to the media. This meeting, though, very different than the last time these two were together back in February.
That's right. The last meeting was very contentious, and the vice president was highly critical of Zelenskyy, and Trump and Zelenskyy had words. This time, it was relatively friendly. Zelenskyy was deferential. Trump was polite, even though Trump veered into topics that were far from Ukraine. But all in all, I think Zelenskyy is probably feeling reasonably good today.
Yeah, I mean, they talked about a successful day that it's been so far. The two of them did address the media, as we talked about, and then they were able to we were getting a sneak peek at that meeting there in the White House's East Room with those world leaders. So what stood out to you from what you have heard and seen so far today? And even if you can, is more progress already being seen today than what we saw with his meeting with President Putin on Friday?
Well, at least it hasn't gone backward. Key thing coming out of the meeting with the European leaders is the German chancellor, who emphasized that a ceasefire would be necessary before the next meeting. And that's something that Trump has backtracked on. Before the Alaska meeting, he said that if Putin didn't agree to a ceasefire, there would be serious consequences. Putin didn't agree to a ceasefire, and there weren't consequences, at least not in the short run. So that was seen as a setback for Ukraine. But today, the tone was a bit more positive, and we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah, what they can hash out or come any closer to a deal here, a peace agreement. President Trump saying that the U.S. would back those European security guarantees for Ukraine to help end the war with Russia. So is that a new position for the president?
Well, in response to a question, Trump didn't rule out American participation, though I think some of the commentary is overinterpreting that. When given a question he wasn't expecting, the president often says, well, we'll take that into consideration. So I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that. But again, it was not a step backward.
Yeah, and he didn't mention, Jack, if that would involve U.S. troops either. He, like you said, didn't really answer that question. He just said U.S. involvement in some way.
Yeah, the important thing is he didn't rule it out. And again, this is something the Europeans are very concerned about, having some kind of security guarantee in the long run, not necessarily involving NATO per se, but involving the members of NATO.
Are you optimistic they're going to get some sort of deal today? But they're going to have a trilat meeting then with Putin and President Zelenskyy. I mean, is that going to happen?
That is much more in the air. The predicate to a meeting is that Trump and Putin would agree that Putin wants peace. But the whole history of this conflict is that Putin has not shown that he wants peace. And so it's going to take a change on Putin's part in order for additional progress to happen. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we definitely will. Professor Jack Pitney, thank you for your time again and the insight here. And we will definitely be waiting to see what happens. A long road ahead, I guess. Big challenges and a long road ahead. So we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
President Trump still meeting with those 8 world leaders at the White House. And if the group gives us an update after their meeting, we, of course, will carry it live right here in this newscast. And we will have much more on today's meeting on KCAL News at 4.